guys, welcome back. I hope you are having an amazing Mother's Day. I've got somebody very special to me. I've got a woman that I really respect because of just standing and being who she needs to be and who she is in the midst of a lot, because her industry is a lot. So I've got Bonnie. Hey, Bonnie, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, I'm
such an
so
honor
to have you. I mean, you are one woman that is in an industry that is not easy to be in. And I feel like, well, this is just me. I feel like you really show up as you. And it's not easy and it's not funny, but you do it. And that is letting us all know that, you know what, in hard situations, you can still be you. So Mother's Day is a very, for me, for a long time, it's been a touchy subject because 30 years ago, my mother passed, and then every Mother's Day, I was like, oh my God, I don't want this to happen to me again. Why do we even have Mother's Day? But lately, I mean, probably 5 years back, the healing happened, and now I enjoy my Mother's Day. So today I thought, let us just spend it talking about the things that we're probably not going to talk about in a normal day, but then because we have Mother's Day, we can talk about them. So for you, Bonnie, if you think of Mother's Day, what comes into mind?
Wow. Do you know, my Mother's Day story has changed over the years. It's because anyone who's familiar with my book, Eye Bags and Dimples, will know that I had a really difficult relationship with my mother growing up. So my ideas around mothers and mothering were always broken. And I had to take the time to heal my mother's story and to really just heal my mother wound. And it was deep. And I think I started to do a lot of the healing before I became a mother, but when I became a mother, the process started to complete itself, because when I became a mother, I was able to gain some compassion towards my mother. I was able to understand that my mother did the best with what she had at the time she had it, and that it had nothing to do with me. It wasn't personal. It wasn't because I was unloved. It wasn't because I didn't deserve the best. So my Mother's Day now is one of my most beautiful days, because it takes me to a place where I take the time to celebrate being a mother, to celebrate the mothers who have come before me, my mother's mother, her mother's mother, also to just celebrate the mothers in my lineage. And to just be able to recognize the sacrifices they made to get me here, and to recognize that I'm standing on the shoulders of giant mothers, you know? So it's really become a celebration. And for a lot of the, you know, the days in the world, like Valentine's Day, this day, that day, I usually just see them as like a money-making scheme. But with Mother's Day, it's very different, and it's very special to me.
It matters. That's how I feel. And I was talking to another lady earlier, and I knew that you are probably going to be able to give us a better understanding of this. How do you then, so when do you have the conversation with your mother, or must you even have the conversation with your mother after healing? Because you did say you didn't have an amazing relationship with your mother. I mean, me myself, I didn't have one. And I mean, my mother passed at 6, but obviously all these years I had that, you left me, how could you do this? And I hated her, I was angry at her and all these things. And when I was healing, I had to heal and then have the conversation with her. And you know, some days are bad. So when should we have the conversation with our mom to say, you know what, I love you, and this was a mess. Here I got hurt. This is what maybe you ruined my life. You are the one who ruined my life. Maybe I've healed now. When do we do it? How do we start it? How do we get that done?
You know, first let me say, no matter how amazing your mother is, at some point you're going to feel like she ruined your life. I think let's get that out of the way. Yeah, let's just get that out of the way, because I think we all have to face the part of us that wants to be victimized or wants to play victim, right? So let's get that out of the way. And then the second thing for me is I've been very careful in my healing journey to not be prescriptive to people about when and how they should do things, but I would rather speak about the spirit of things. So in your healing journey, in a desire to move forward and be heard and to accept what happened to you and to own it and face it and go to the graveyard, so to speak. I call it going to the graveside. Yeah. And looking at the damage and looking at the things that broke and looking at the things that were the things that you lost in the pain and the trauma. In doing that, if speaking to your mother is an important part of it, by all means do it. Okay. If you can do it, I would encourage it. If you feel like you can't, I found that there are other ways of speaking to your mother that are just as effective. For example, in your situation, you couldn't have a physical conversation with her, but you could write a letter. You could sit in your room, light a candle, and pray and meditate, and then create a situation where you are imagining or visualizing yourself speaking to your mother. So there's ways around it. But with my mother, specifically in my situation, my anger was so deep and it was so real, so much so that it would just seep out. Whenever I'd be just hanging out with my mother, we'd be maybe speaking about, I don't know, the weather. And then suddenly I'm like, yeah, but you did this and it was like I couldn't contain it. It just kept coming out no matter what I did, right? And I think we also have to be careful that by the time we have conversations with the people that we love, who've hurt us, that we've done the work of saying, do you know what? I'm also responsible for some of the things that have happened in this relationship. Maybe I'm responsible for the escalation. Maybe I'm responsible for the animosity, the coldness that has now happened between us. So we can't come to the party with this finger pointing attitude. We also have to bring ourselves and say, this is what I recognize I've done. And this is what I'd like you to take accountability for. And then having said that, I don't think that conversation must be entered into with an outcome, an expectation of an outcome, right? Because you might not get anything that you're expecting. You might not even get an acknowledgement. Yeah. In fact, you might hear something even more shocking, right? So you must go into the conversation knowing that you are doing this for yourself. Yeah. And not so much that it hinges on the reaction of the mother or the reaction of the person that you are confronting about the things that have happened. And sometimes it's not even about them apologizing, because you might go through your whole life without an apology. And they might go throughout their whole lives never acknowledging what happened. Sometimes it's about going to face your giant. Because I say my mother is a giant in my life because she has so much to do with who I became, right? And so much of my identity is steeped in how my mother mothered me. And even now as a mother, I hear myself saying things my mother said. I say them to my children. I even see myself behaving in patterns or doing things that my mother did. Or sometimes I'm doing things that she didn't do, or I'm doing the opposite of what she did because of what she did. So everything is almost like it centers around what she did and didn't do. And therefore I derive my identity from that in many aspects as a mother. So it's been really just important for me to say, if this is a Goliath in my life, I'm going to go and face it. I'm going to go face my giant. And whether it's speaking to my giant, whether it's telling my giant who I am, or telling it what I'm going to become, I think that healing looks very different for everybody, but I think that there's frameworks, and I think communication is very important in the healing journey.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I love the part where you say you must take responsibility. I mean, for that, I have gotten into so much trouble when I say to someone, you know, when you get hurt or somebody else hurts you, there is a part you play. There
Yes.
is always a part. And it could look like, oh, hell no, they wronged me, but there is a part.
Yeah.
And I don't think you find healing before you realize that. So taking that responsibility to say, I played a part, even if I don't know what it is, maybe I can't find it, but I must know that there is one, so that when I start this, when I take the steps to healing, I know even why I'm healing. Which brings me to the next question. How does healing look like? Because a lot of women, I mean, I'm a coach on a daily basis, I tell people to heal, and they're like, Busi, but like, how does healing look like? I mean, what is this healing? And people think it's forgiveness. And I'm like, no, it's not. Healing is not forgiving. Healing is not forgetting. Healing is something else. So you have walked through. Let us please tell us, how does it look like?
You know, before I answer the question, I just want to use this opportunity, firstly, to thank you and the healing work that you do. And I picked up your book, Healing Your Money Story, when I met you about, I think it was 2 years ago at the Capitec live conversations. And when I just saw just the idea of healing my money story, it was the first time I ever even realized I had a money story, right? Even just that word, like, wow, I have a money story and it needs to be healed. Wow, okay. So firstly, I want to thank you for your contribution to my life and my healing journey. I think that the work that you're doing is going to echo through generations to come, and we will remember this time as a very valuable step in our healing, even just as a nation, as Black women, and even as mothers, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what does healing look like? First of all, it's not linear. It's not one straight line. You don't wake up and start walking the line, and then and it's not dependent on how fast you run and how quickly you do the things and the exercises and the healing. It's a humbling yourself to the healing process, right? And sometimes I find my healing process tells me what it wants from me. And you know, sometimes it just tells me, no, not now. We're not doing this now. You need to relax now. You've done enough. You're doing too much. You're doing the most. Stop. You know, this is not going to happen on your time. When you dictate, you have to do the work. And most of us don't know what the work looks like until we start doing it.
Yeah,
right?
Because it's a different work for everyone.
Absolutely. And there are encouraging things along the way, like you'll get a breakthrough, you'll get a big breakthrough, or you'll get a small breakthrough, or you'll think that the breakthrough you just got is so big, it's going to change everything forever, and you never have to do any more work again. Then you find out, no, you just open the door, that's all.
I know. Or sometimes after that, you just go back 20 steps and you're like,
exactly. Or sometimes you open the door and you just find this mess and you're like, oh, I didn't know this jacket was in this room. I've been looking for this jacket everywhere. Or whose jacket is this? Why is this jacket here? Right? So for me, healing it's constant, and it's layer upon layer. It's precept upon precept. It's law upon law. You are also not only healing from your past trauma or trauma that is happening now, or trauma that you are perpetuating by the mistakes you are still making. Sometimes it's learning how to live, or learning how to parent yourself, or learning how to just be yourself, you know? So there are so many, because I find what happens is that you heal and then you learn. Then you heal and then you learn. And by learning, I mean, how do we then learn how to not repeat the same mistake? How do we then learn to, because sometimes when we find out what the healing journey entails, we go, oh no, I feel like it's going to be tougher to heal. I'd rather stay here in this mess. Thank you very much. This mess. is better, because ever since I started Busi's course, now my life is a mess. Yo, why did I do this thing? Now it's a mess, right? And we forget that now we're unpacking, and we are now unpacking all the stuff, and it's coming out, and it's going to feel strange, and it's going to feel new. And that's why it's so important, I think, to find a supportive community and a group that you can go back to and compare story or compare notes, you know, or just have a community of support. Support is so essential.
Just encouraged also, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, because this past full moon, this full moon was all about healing these deep, dark wounds. And one of the ones that we're just standing out for everybody is being abundant. And my own came up, and I was like, oh my God, no, I thought I've dealt with this, like you're saying. I thought this was done. I mean, I always talk about the onion layers when I talk to my clients. And I thought, you know what, my onion is probably finished now. Guess what? My story came back, my mother's story came back and looked me right in the face.
Wow.
And my coach said, so do you have a picture of your mom? I was like, oh, hell no. I have a She's like, hey, who is fine with their mom and they don't have a picture of their mom? I was like, oh my God,
wow.
What is this? And everything fell apart. Wow. And then now there is me going back to the healing process, picking up the pieces now that I've just found out. And when I'm doing that, I found out I didn't know my mother's birth date. I was never interested. I didn't know when she was born. I just found out that she will be turning 78 this year. I'm like, wow. And I found out that she gave birth to me at 41. And I'm like, oh my God, back then, giving birth at 41 was like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I mean, we're giving birth at 18 up to maybe like early 30s, but at 41, you're giving birth? So all these, I mean, things that I found out about her in this past probably 7 days were shocking to me, but they've just changed the whole healing for me with her. So, and I thought, oh no, we're done with that. That is fixed. Oh wow, did I get the shock? Today I've got a few pictures of my mom. My coach said I should hang them somewhere in the house. I was like, oh hell no, we'll do that some other time. I'm not coming for that. I have them in the phone. That's good enough. So, and I know there's going to be another day that's going to push me maybe 2 more steps, and that I will have to do, because we have to accept that some of the things are always going to be painting our journey onwards. And like you said, it's a continuous process, and there's no finishing line. But also there are benefits of healing, as much as it's horrible.
Yes. Oh yes.
What has been the benefits for you?
So first of all, you know what's really incredible about healing? Just positivity flowing into your life versus stagnation, versus struggle, versus strife, versus the old ways of doing things, is that once healing begins, it's exponential. In fact, I find that healing moves at a far more rapid pace than the darkness or than pain or suffering. Because it's as though once you start unraveling, it comes undone like this ball of wool, right? Because you will start to see the healing benefits in your life, and also because healing now forces you to be present, right? Whereas before, it's so difficult to be grateful because you're not present enough to notice the beautiful things that are happening. But because healing is calling you to pay attention, and because this pain that you're trying to get rid of is forcing you to pay attention, so you recognize the beautiful things that are happening more easily and faster, right? And then you actually realize that you've got so much more. Whereas when you're starting on the back foot and you're not doing the work, You're always the victim. Why you? It's always so bad. Oh my gosh, my life. Oh, you know. And then the other thing I love about healing is that it is multi-generational.
Yes.
There are things, there are breakthroughs that have happened in my life where I immediately, even the next day, start to see my children respond to without them have been doing the work with me.
True.
Suddenly just, it's quite mystical and it's quite supernatural, where you are starting to heal pathways in your generational line, in your lineage. You're starting to deal with generational patterns and generational ways of thinking. And sometimes depending on your positioning in the family, or depending on your authority in terms of position in the family, you can unlock so much healing for so many people around you, right? That's what I love about healing. It's like some things I didn't even have to do. They just fix themselves.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible. And you know what else I love about healing is that you cannot do it alone. You can't heal without bringing hundreds of people with you. It's almost like a requirement. It's a requirement.
It is a requirement. I agree. You wrote an amazing book that changed so many people's lives, and that book was really for you, to heal you. But guess what?
Right?
Wow. Yeah, there is benefits. So I always say this, that as much as you're going to cry and it's going to be messy, but there is so much benefit. One benefit that I've just realized right now is that finally, because I've been able to let go of all these things with my mom, I am actually now enjoying my own kids more. I never felt like a mom. I never felt that, because I hated being a mom, because I hated moms. I mean, I hated my mother-in-law.
Yes.
I mean, leave me alone. If you're a woman, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. If you are my boss, it's going to be a mess. I am going to fight you. You are my client. I'm going to fight you.
There's going to be a problem. Yeah.
Women would not want to give, the thing of women bring each other down. For me, I was ready for it, because women don't trust a woman. She's going to die and leave you alone. So, yes. So if there isn't a man that is in that process, it was going to be a mess for me. And imagine how many opportunities I lost in life.
Yes.
Because I was putting my mother in every woman.
Wow.
So now I have more women clients than any other time in my life.
Amazing.
I have amazing women that are my friends. You just did not even like, but let me think about it. I promise you, that time I was fighting my mother, you would have never said yes to anything I've ever. You would have just been like, leave me alone.
Wow.
That energy, I was the one who said, I don't want no woman in my life. But now I am able to embrace relationships. I am having meaningful friendships. I was the person who had all the fake friendships. My goodness, my friendships were so fake, it wasn't funny.
Wow. Wow.
But I was fighting my mother all the way. Now I have meaningful relationships.
That's amazing.
A reward, and I think that is the message we should be preaching, that do the work, you are going to get rewarded.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, Busi, I want to share something. It's very intimate, and I'm sharing it out loud for the first time. That has come out for me in this COVID-19 period. I realized, okay, so all as mothers, we've all now been forced to be with our children 24/7, right? So, and we don't realize that a lot of us are always treating our children like a problem to move out of the way, right? From the minute we wake up in the morning, okay, I must take them to school. Hey, at least they'll be gone to school for the whole day. Ooh, and then when they come back, I must get a nanny to just deal with them, so that you are constantly moving them out the way, because somehow in the back of your mind there's this narrative that they are the resistance to your dreams, your future, the best life, right? And I didn't know that this narrative was playing out in my subconscious. And why it was playing out is because when I was growing up, my mother used to tell me and God bless her soul, and I'm not speaking this from a negative place. We've healed and we've grown a lot from this. My mother used to tell me, you becoming a mother stole my dreams, she used to say.
Oh,
right. So I had this story playing out. Oh my gosh, when I become a mother, my dreams are going to end. My future is doomed. It's over for me. And then I realized, oh, even in our community as women, we all believe the story. You know why? Because we say things to each other like, oh, this one, this one is washed out. This one, sit down now. You're a mother. Don't dress like this. I'm going to hey, forget you. Bye-bye. It's time for the new generation. So we're all reiterating this. We're all playing out this narrative in the words that we speak. The minute you hear yourself say about another woman, Alona, why I say like, it's time for other people. You're actually saying this woman died. An event happened in her life. She became a mother and now she must be forgotten and buried. And you don't actually realize that you're playing out the same narrative in your own life. You're believing the same lie about yourself. Wow. So how that plays itself out and how that manifests in our lives is we keep shifting our children out of focus, out of our view, we're sacrificing for them and we're working to give them the life that we want to give them, but we don't realize that we're not building intimacy with them, because we're constantly shipping them off. So this COVID-19 brings me face to face with me dealing with my children from morning till night. I'm in the house, cooking, cleaning, we're talking. It's constant, the homeschooling, the blah, 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 the blah, blah. And then it hit me one day after a meditation session. It hit me that I was bonding with my children, but it was a very real feeling of like, wow, I'm bonding with my children. And then I asked myself the question, well, if you're bonding with your children, what were you doing before? And the answer was that I was just raising them and providing for them. And then the next question was, was that enough for you? Why was that not enough for you? And the answer to that is that it is not enough, because provision and sacrifice and so-called love are supposed to be something I'm experiencing as well. It's not something that I just give to the children and I leave. Give them the love, give them the sacrifice, give them meet their needs and then leave. It's supposed to be this reciprocal back and forth, right? And then I realized that even in just only providing for my children and being dutiful and sacrificing for them, I'm not getting to know them. I'm not getting to know them. So you know what I do with them? You know what I used to do with them? I used to do one size fits all. I raised the firstborn like this, so everybody's gonna get raised like this. It worked for this one. It must work for all of you. Right?
And these are different human beings.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not getting to know them. And then I asked myself while I was writing, why are you not getting to know them? And the answer came back was, you fear them. Why do you fear them? Why do I fear them? I fear that I'm inadequate as their mother. So instead of facing the fact that I feel inadequate as their mother, because I fear that I'm going to repeat the mistakes of my mother and her mother, I decide, oh, well, since I'm going to fail anyway, let me just keep it moving and fail now and just carry on.
Oh my goodness.
Tip the children off. I'm failing anyway. Because if I get to know my children and I face my children and I'm present with my children, I will see into them and they'll see into me. And we'll accept each other's flaws and we'll accept each other's shortcomings. But because I feel so inadequate, I fear them. The thing that you don't understand, you fear.
Wow.
So if you do not understand your children, you are fearing them. And when you fear them, you are hurting them, you are ignoring them, and you are shipping them off.
Wow. Now then you're talking to me.
Right?
Wow.
It was such a blow for me. It was such a blow. And I realized that because I'm fearing this intimacy with them, my child will come home and just want to talk to me about what happened during the day. The first thing I want to do is fix it. Hey, who was it? Who did they say? Which teacher? Okay, fine. Done.
Yeah, so that you can leave me alone and let me sort it out quickly. Wow.
Quickly. Who's coming for me? Because they mustn't come for me. And then what if my child didn't even want a solution for me? They just wanted a conversation. They just wanted to be heard. They just wanted to be validated in their feelings.
I know that I used to literally be happy when they ask for money, because that's something I can do.
Yeah. Yes, because it's not inadequate. It's this is how you come through. You make it rain, you make it happen. Let's keep it moving.
Intimacy, I get it when you say it's fear, because that intimacy means too much.
It's too much.
I don't have it. Wow, Penny. And now that you're talking about the COVID-19, and that's the one thing also that now I'm realizing as you're talking, that I work from home. And, I've always prided myself as I work from home, my kids are homeschooled, and it means that, you know what, I've ticked a few boxes because I'm with my kids the whole day. Guess what? I was actually doing the same thing you're saying of, the nanny is with them, the father is with them, the whoever is with them. At least I can see them. Hey, I'm here also the whole day.
Yeah.
But then during COVID-19, something changed. I mean, for me, my life didn't change much because I work from home, everything happens from home. But I think the energy around this time, because it is time for us to heal. Oh my goodness. I feel like I know them. All of a sudden I feel like, oh my God, I've just been introduced to 3 people in my life. And it feels so weird. I'm like, oh my God, I gave 3 people and I feel like I know them. And my daughter used to say, the 8-year-old, she used to tell me I'm busy, I'm never here, but I'm always here. But she used to tell me that. Literally during COVID-19, you stop saying that. And it's not like there's anything physically I've changed doing, but my heart is open now. I think that's it. It has probably lifted, and I'm no longer scared of them. Like you were saying that I mean, she had to Zoom this, and I actually don't want to fix it. I actually want to sit with her there and watch her do her gymnastics, whatever. And I don't feel like I'm losing an hour sitting there watching her do her gymnastic stuff. So wow, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, wow. It's a pleasure, and I mean it's a work in process, and I'm learning myself. But it's that again, healing, that breakthrough of like, I'm fearing my children because I'm fearing my own inadequacy. It's also changing the way I'm communicating with my mother, because now I'm not afraid to hear the weakness in my mother's voice. I'm not afraid to hear the fear in my mother's voice. I'm not afraid to hear the fear in my children's voice. I'm not afraid to hear the fear in my own voice.
Wow.
Amazing. So it's that thing of recognizing each other's vulnerability and going, oh, okay, I'm hearing your vulnerability. I can hear your voice cracking a bit. I can hear that you're a bit scared. I'm here. I'm sitting with you. Why? Because I can sit with myself as well.
Wow.
So the healing work is so abundant when it starts to just give back to you, because you are showing up and sitting with yourself. So you can sit with the people who need you.
And all of a sudden they feel that you are present. They feel that you are here with them, and it's okay, and you are okay. Wow. That makes such a big difference for all of us as women. Now, one other thing is that we're going to have people that are 35-year-olds in the future, 40 years old, and that says, my mother ruined me. I am here because my mother didn't do that. My mother did that. I mean, we're also going to have the same thing. It's going to happen to her. So, and obviously, I mean, it's like you said at first, everybody's gonna get the same story. They're gonna see us as those people. We saw our parents as those people. So anyway, it's fine. But how do we as mothers decide which part we can let that hurt happen in, and which part we can be like, okay, no, I am going to cushion you so well that you never ever experience this. But this you can experience and you can blame me for it later. It's okay. So which parts do we decide is which then?
I think one of the things I'm learning is that I apologize as I go, so that I don't have 120,000 things to apologize for later.
Yeah.
I apologize daily now.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one.
Okay. First of all, if I'm wrong, I go, hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I'm apologizing today, because there are so many things I'm doing that I'm still going to apologize for that I don't see. But the ones that I see, I pick them up and I apologize for them today, now.
Yeah, yeah.
Let us learn to apologize to our children when we are wrong. Because what we are also doing is we are teaching them to be compassionate to us and towards themselves. But when we are like, I'm never wrong, I can't show them that I'm weak, we are building in them the same habit of never needing to apologize or never being able to hold themselves accountable. You know?
Yeah. Wow.
So that's been a tough lesson, because some of the things I've had to apologize for are so embarrassing.
I know.
So embarrassing. I mean, a simple thing like I will come in and I'll say, I washed these windows last week. Why are there all these marks on these windows, guys? Why are you touching these windows with your with dirty hands and food in your hands? And then now I'm like, everybody go and wash those windows. Then somebody says, no, Mom, it's the cats. The cats have been, they touch the windows with their paws. And then instead of walking away and going, that's when you must stop and go, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I blamed you without even asking what happened. And it's tough. It's not easy. It's not easy, especially if nobody taught you how to do it and you're teaching yourself how to do it.
Wow.
Apologize to your children when you blame them for something they didn't do. Apologize to your children when you were in a bad mood and you snapped at them and all they were asking is, Mom, where's the keys? Or I don't know, have you seen my bag? Apologize, because it teaches them to be gentle with themselves. It teaches them to forgive themselves. It teaches them that they don't have to be perfect. They're perfect just the way that they are. There's so many lessons in showing your humanity to your children.
Wow. And that, it takes us to the next thing that I wanted us to talk about. The fact that when we teach our kids that we are wrong and what is wrong, because it's wrong to blame people for things they haven't done. It's wrong to scream at people for nothing. It's wrong so when they know that is wrong, you're not supposed, my mommy says she's wrong for doing that, even when she has done it, so it's fine, then they will know when they go out there to not take abuse in the world, because they will know how abuse looks like. I mean,
exactly.
So many are going through horrible relationships. I mean, gender-based violence in our country is the worst in the world, because we've been told that, you know what, when a guy comes and touches your bum, well, maybe it's not such a bad idea. You don't know if it's good or it's not. You don't know if you are the one who allowed it to happen or it's not. I mean, we have women who have been raped and they're not sure if that was her or not that made it to happen. I mean, really, because we have not been taught what is correct, what is wrong. I mean, most of the time my son comes to me, so we'll probably argue him about something. He will say, yeah, but you're not even listening to me. What's wrong with you? I'll be like, oh my God, I'm not even listening. Okay, so I'm sorry for not listening, and now I'm listening. Okay, listen. Because that when I'm talking to you, you're supposed to listen. If you're not listening to me, I'm not talking to you. And he tells me that if you're not going to be listening, I'm not going to be talking to you, mommy. Fix yourself, then let's talk. You know, and I have to come back, fix myself, and then, okay, fine, I'm fixed, let's talk.
Yes.
So he knows he's not going to go out in the work environment and allow people to tell him, belittle him, because now he knows what's right, he knows what's not true. So how do we take that and package it in a way that it helps them further on in life? How they should be treated, how they should treat others, how they should live their lives better.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you know what? Sometimes the keys to a full and like present and vital life are so simple, and I think it's because they sound so simple that we undermine them. We undermine things that sound simple. I don't know what it is with us. Like, so, or even things that are a bit cheaper. We like, no, I'm sure this thing doesn't work because it's cheaper. This cough mixture, it's only 10 Rand. Why are the other ones 50 Rand? I'm going to get the 50 Rand one. And I think it's the same with like, with healing and just keys to help us live better. We think the simple things are, we despise the simple things.
Yeah. It's too simple.
Yeah. So what I've learned, Busi, is really, truly, first and foremost, if I am not caring for myself, I am not caring for anyone else in my life. If I am not self-loving, I am not loving anybody else in my life adequately. If I do not have boundaries, I am busy violating the boundaries of the people in my life. Every single thing or every single way that I treat myself, every investment that I make in myself is an investment that in turn gives to the people around me. So now I've learned that if I wake up, one of the reasons I'm now deciding that I'm going to homeschool my children is because I've noticed that if I wake up in the morning and I sit and I meditate first thing in the morning and I write, I do this thing called morning pages. I don't know if you've heard about morning pages, but morning pages, I was introduced to them by a woman called Julia Cameron. She wrote a book called The Artist's Way. And she recommends that every morning when you wake up, the first thing you do, you just write 3 pages of anything and everything. Every single day, you just wake up and you write 3 pages.
Wow.
It brings clarity. And and every time you write the 3 pages, you must remember that you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from where you left off. So you're always going deeper and deeper and deeper. It brings a lot of clarity. It brings a lot of focus, and it unclutters your mind, because an uncluttered mind is a mind that can focus and work quite intelligently and in the way that it's supposed to. And then I meditate every day, and then I exercise every day. And I've learned that if I'm not waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to yell at my kids to brush their teeth, brush their hair, eat their breakfast, get in the car, oh, traffic. I now actually use that time to wake up and prepare for the day and prepare myself for them. So I make better use of my time in the morning now. Hence, this homeschooling thing has become a better idea for me, and I've started it thanks to COVID-19.
Oh yeah, but this was a blessing.
Yeah.
So,
but before that, I would try to do these self-care things in the morning before 6 o'clock and before going downstairs to make the breakfast, the lunchbox. But I was taking so much strain, and I realized that the more leeway I give myself, the more I can literally give my children the things that they need. So I guess the answer I'm getting to is, guys, you cannot equip your children to live their best life or be the best version of themselves if you are not giving to yourself first. You cannot give from an empty, exhausted shell. You have to be filled first before you can pour out to people. Fill yourself up first. And also, filling yourself up first is not a selfish thing. It's a discipline thing. Wow. Because it's about discipline. It's about I'm showing up for myself every day. It's not I'm being selfish every day. It's I have routines and things in my life I've put in place that I know work, and I know they build me up, and I know they strengthen me, and I know they fortify me. It's almost like these nutrients, life nutrients. They give me, they revitalize me, they re-energize me. And I can't keep giving from this place of sacrifice, because we are always running on empty and then giving from this empty place. It's like, how many of us woke up on Mother's Day and we were like, oh, I'm going to cook this, I'm going to clean that, and everyone is going, whoa, wait, relax, we're going to take care of you today. No, no one does it like I can. Hey, I'm going to do it. It's fine. No, it's not fine. Relax. People want to spoil you. It's Mother's Day. Receive.
Yes.
So
Receive.
I feel, receive. So I feel like in our inability to receive is so, or our inability to give what is essential is impacted by our ability to receive what is essential.
Wow. Thank you for that. That receive part, because they try, you know what, they try, but when we're not ready to receive,
They try.
they just feel like, oh well, let's leave her alone. She's superwoman. She's fine. She probably what they tell us. And then you actually become bitter, and then you start to say, nobody appreciates me here. But then, okay, we thought let's just let you be you. But you just totally refuse that. So that thing, that I think is on every mommy's worry corner is, what do I teach them? So your parents taught you things that made you, and you're like, yay. And your parents also teach you things that you will like, you know what, if they actually didn't teach me that, I would be okay in life. So I mean, yesterday my 8-year-old, I found out that she doesn't know what is hell and what is heaven. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? She asked me, what is that? And I mean, she's way older for that kind of information. I mean, I got that information at 6. I already knew about sin and, you know, hell and stuff. She has no idea what that is. Because obviously she's homeschooled. So the information she gets is information I want her to get. Now, for Sunday school, they literally are taught about how to not judge others, how to not judge themselves, how to take care of themselves, how to open up their emotions, how to, all these things that are about them and their spirituality, but maybe not religion at all, but it's totally spirituality. And for praying, they meditate. That's all they know. They know you sit there and you meditate. And God, they know God as a wonderful being that loves them. They don't know nothing about God other than that. So then, yesterday I found out that she doesn't know about hell and heaven. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm ready for this conversation. And when I had that, I was like, you know what? Actually, I don't care. I am not teaching her this. She's gonna find out at 35 that she's going to hell, and it's fine. So what is it that you are conscious right now to teach them, and what is it that you're conscious right now to not teach them?
Wow. Oh, that is such a deep question. I think it's such an intricate question, because I'm constantly learning every day what's essential to teach them. So apart from just their homeschooling life or the things that they need to learn, you know, maths, English, whatever, apart from just the intellectual book stuff, I really am trying to teach my children I'm not trying to teach them how to give me the right answer or be perfect. I want to teach them how to think. I'm constantly looking for ways to open my children's minds up to the fact that there are very creative ways that you can use your brain. Teach yourself how to think. Teach them how to think critically. Teaching my children how to think out of the box. Teaching my children to come out of this groupthink, herd mentality. Everybody's doing it, so must I. A lot of what I base what I teach my children on is how do you think for yourself? How do you develop the confidence? How do you trust yourself enough to believe that the way you think is fine and it's okay? So that when you make decisions that are fine for you, you don't have to check with the masses to see what they're doing first, to make sure that now the thing that you're doing is okay for you. Yeah. Because that is not how people change the world. People didn't change the world by thinking like the 50,000 people in their community. So I'm constantly pushing my children to the edge of thinking differently, thinking creatively. How could I do this differently? How could I do this in a new way? And then when they do discover that maybe there's a way of doing it differently, and I'm on the sideline. My job, I believe, is to encourage them and go, okay, go fiercely in that direction. It's perhaps a direction I've never I've never explored before, but go fiercely in that direction, because no matter what happens, you'll be okay because of the intention. Your intention was to gather knowledge, to gain understanding. No bad result has ever come from your children pursuing greater knowledge, more knowledge, better understanding, right? And then the other thing that I'm very aware of is that some of the knowledge that I have has done me no good. It really has done me no good to know that there's a heaven and a hell. It really hasn't. But it has done me more good to know that there's love and fear. Do you know what I mean? So there's some things that is archaic knowledge now. That is really not, they're not things that I have to teach my children anymore, because we in our work have uncovered deeper things. And we are now wanting our ceiling to be our children's floor, right? So we're not going to start way back at the beginning and go, oh, let me teach you about heaven and hell. We're going to start speaking about where you're operating from. Are you operating from fear or from love? Are you operating from a place of abundance or from lack? You know, so let's change. So for me, it's very important that I change my language. My language has to evolve all the time, so that my children are grappling with these new concepts and seeing where they fit in with these new concepts. And then the other thing I'm very diligent about teaching my children is teaching them to pursue the things that they love. Teaching them that the thing that brings them joy, the thing that brings you, follow your bliss. Yeah. Follow your bliss. Go to it. Go to it. Because
we were told, don't go this way, but hey, we finally actually, after so long, found ourselves the same thing.
Exactly. Our parents, whenever we did anything we enjoyed, they're like, oh, this is the thing you must stop doing when. Yes. Why?
What kind of pleasure? It must be painful. It looked like too much fun. No.
Yeah. When I saw Chablega Kulu,
wow.
This is going to end bad.
That is how everybody's in a job they hate. Because I mean, the things that you love, they were like, okay, it's not going to make you money, that one sold.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then there's a lot that my children are learning just by watching me, right? So I'm also now learning to be more of a doer than a talker.
Yes.
Because my children are going to do more of what I do and less of what I say.
Absolutely. And nobody listens to their mother. Nobody. You only do what your mother does, but you never listen to her. So, wow.
Exactly.
Wow. You have literally made me think of so many things that are so important. And I am feeling like, wow, I have actually been doing okay. And there is definitely room, like there's room to improve. But I feel that it's not that bad, you know, because I mean, I am one person that a lot of people have told me I'm doing things wrong concerning parenting. And it's so good to always talk to someone like you and all the other ladies I was talking to today. That makes me feel like, okay, at least I'm not the only one. At least, and how I've done that has brought so much success into my life. But actually, my kids have a better plan to implement in their lives because of what they've seen me do, and because of these things. Wow. And you know,
no one ever said, have we ever heard anyone say, wow, well done, you've raised such a great human being, you raised them to be just like everybody else, that is amazing? Have we ever heard anyone say that? No.
Oh, yeah. Wow. And that's what we're trying to do, actually. We're trying to raise people that are just going to be like everybody else. We're not thinking, by the way, I might actually, you know, get amazing presidents and all this kind of thing. And those people have not grown up like everybody else. Wow.
No.
Wow. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for your time. I am so glad.
Thank you. In fact, this conversation has made my mother's day. It's been so beautiful.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have a proper Mother's Day. I thought my Mother's Day was going well. Now it's really, I'm gonna go out here, you know, doing that whistle song where they say when the person is happy they whistle.
Yes, yes.
The whistle. By the way, I'm actually a good mother, people, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all your viewers as well. And just to say to them, you know what, we're also, I love that concept of I'm a good enough mother today. Good enough mother. Good enough.
Perfect.
I'm no longer setting these unrealistic goals for myself of super. Also, I took off that superwoman cape a long time ago. So now I'm like, good enough mother. I'm a good enough mother today.
Strong women qualifications I don't need anymore. Like you were just saying, I'm gonna tell them when I'm wrong. I'm gonna tell them when I'm messing up every day. I mean, I literally ask for advice from my daughter now, and she always laughs at me. I literally ask her for advice, and sometimes she gives me stuff I don't even understand. I'm like, you know what? I'm too old for that. Let's leave it. And this is like, okay. But I've learned that the 8-year-old has so much she can give me. The older one, the smallest one, can give me something. So, hey,
yeah,
I can work with them to make this thing work.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also just to say to all the mothers out there, the children that have been given to you, the children that God has blessed you with, He's also equipped you specifically for those souls to raise those children. Your skill set, the things that you love, the things that you care about are specifically tailored for those children that you are raising.
And imagine then, Bonnie, me trying then to take a template for somebody else's child and wanting to work with that in this specific one that God knew I must be raising this one. I mean,
Exactly.
God gave me funny things I don't know what to do with, and I find, oh God, I'm supposed to even do this. And then now God knew that I'm going to give you another one that you can send that info to. And then I'm trying to get a template from somewhere else to say, no,
Yes.
that's the right template. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for the time.
But thank you so much. I'm looking forward to having more conversations with you. I'm gonna get in touch with you to have a conversation with you as well about some healing conversations I'd like to have with my online community. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, let's totally do that. I mean, we all need this. And like you were saying, your healing is not just for you, it's for so many other people. So let's do that. Wow.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Enjoy your day and say hello to everybody in that amazing home of yours.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love to you. Okay. Bye.